Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we are going to continue our player prediction series, and today we have Aaron Wiggins that we're going to dive into. We're also going to wrap up our top 5 OKC players in every position, and then tomorrow we'll actually just do our top 10 players ever, but we'll do our top 5 centers ever. And then we're going to talk a bit more about opening day. There was some news about Fred VanVleet getting injured and out for the rest of the year. So we'll talk about how that could affect that game in the Rockets, with them being one of the biggest contenders for the Thunder, and also how Westbrook and KD might reunite in Houston now that Fred VanVleet is injured. But first off, just kind of continuing our series of the player prediction series. Yesterday we dove into Case and Wallace, and now today we have Aaron Wiggins. And we talked about Aaron Wiggins quite a bit over the offseason, and I've said on many times that I believe he can take the jump to be the sixth man for this team and really be in contention for sixth man of the year. And I think a big reason for that, is I just think his 3-level scoring is like none that the Thunder have outside of obviously Shea and J-Dub. I think he's able to attack and get downhill. He's able to hit those mid-range shots and also hit the three at a very efficient rate. It's just he hasn't been able to get the playing time to really show off, but we know as Thunder fans, the games where he gets to play 20-plus minutes, he's gone out there and scored 20-plus, nearly 30 in some games because of how good he is at scoring. And it's not just his scoring capabilities, too. He's an above-average defender. He's just not as elite as the rest of this team. When you think about the Thunder defenders, you automatically go to your guys like Dort, Caruso, Wallace, Chet. Aaron Wiggins is a very good defender as well, and it just kind of goes under the radar because he's on out there for a lot. And most of the time, if he's out there with the bench, you're going to have 3-4 other guys out there that are technically better at you on the defensive side, though, so they're guarding the better players on the team. So Wiggins isn't always having to guard some of the best players out there on the court, but he's still a great defender. I think without a doubt he can become our sixth man and really take over that role and almost average 10 points this upcoming season. I really think it can happen. I think as long as he stays consistent, he gets the consistent playing time, I think he should. I think your three guys that you're going to see consistently out there for the Thunder are Caruso, Wallace, and Wiggins. I think outside of those three, everybody else on the bench will kind of rotate throughout the season depending on who's healthy, who we're playing, and whatever road trip or kind of whoever is up next on the schedule. But I think Wiggins can definitely take that jump into being the sixth man, and I have very high hopes for him this season. We're going to see if he's able to hit those expectations of averaging about 10, 3 and 3, because I think he has the capabilities of doing it. It's just, is Mark Dagnall going to give him the run time and the consistent playing time where he can get comfortable with that? And I think he will. I think Mark Dagnall has realized over this past year how much Wiggins has grown. And I think now Wiggins, a lot more people know about Wiggins now, so maybe it's going to be harder for him to score because they realize how good he can actually be. But there's also going to be still some people that aren't worried about him whatsoever, and he's going to take advantage of that, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. But now we'll kind of transition into talking about our top 5 centers in OKC history. If you haven't seen the rest of them, we've went through both guard positions, both forwards, and now we are finally here at the center position. And at number 5 is Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins, honestly, kind of that meme guy. A lot of us know him now as the guy on NBA Countdown and all that stuff, talking craziness on First Take. But before that, he was a great center for the Thunder. He was a part of the 2012 Thunder with Russ, KD, and Harden. He was the center back then, and he was actually a really good role player for the Thunder in those days. It just, we don't like him now because he was the reason that we weren't giving Harden the extra $5.5 million because we were paying him, and now Harden's gone, and it led to the whole thing. But in general, he is the 5th best center in OKC history. At number 4 is Enes Kanter / Enes Freedom. He was a guy that was alongside Steven Adams back in the day with the Russ days. He was pretty much the first guy off the bench. He gave the Thunder a bunch of big man depth, and he was really just one of those role players, those mid 2010s, centers that just kind of came off the bench, did what he needed to do, and just really went from there in that sense. And at number 3 is Isaiah Hartenstein. I think I already have Isaiah Hartenstein over those two because he contributed so much this past year into getting the Thunder their championship. He provided Chet to allow to move to the 4 and really just provide amazing passing skills. He was able to get rebounds and really set screens for the guards so many times over and over. But I think the biggest thing that just sticks out to him is his ability to pass and just his size at 7'2". You don't think he looks that big until you really see him up close, and then you realize he's actually a pretty big guy. And now at the top 2, another controversial thing, it is between Steven Adams and Chet Holmgren. I know we just talked about Chet as a 4, but I think after this season when Hartenstein leaves, I just see Chet moving back to that 5 slot because he really runs the 5. He's the rim protector of this team, so we still consider him. I have Steven Adams number 2 and Chet Holmgren number 1. I think you could really flip-flop these. Steven Adams is my favorite Thunder player of all time. I have the jersey right there behind me. And he was just one of the guys that Russ always loved. He's a brick wall when he set screens, very similar to Isaiah Hartenstein. But he was such a lovable guy. He always wanted the best for his teammates, but he just really was never able to put up the stats that Chet Holmgren has in his 2.5 seasons with the Thunder so far. And that's why I have Chet at 1. I think we're going to see Chet win a couple of DPOIs. I think he's going to become an all-star this year. I think we're going to see a few all-NBA teams. And I just think what Chet can provide, and I've talked about it so much on this channel on the defensive side, I really think he's the key that holds the whole defense together. And I think not only on the defensive side, but we saw before his injury how he was able to average 20 and 10 before that injury. And it really shows that if he stays healthy, that without a doubt he's going to be one of the greatest defensive guys that the Thunder has ever seen if he can pass Serge Ibaka and guys like that. But I think Chet's already kind of the best center in Thunder history. I understand if you want to give him some more time to do that, but you kind of have to respect these guys that have given us this championship this past year that no other Thunder team has been able to do. And so that's why I think I put Steven Adams number 2 and Chet Holmgren at number 1. But now we'll kind of transition into talking about opening night a bit more. As many of you know, we're just under 1 month away, just about 4 weeks away from opening night. And we got some big news on the Rockets side of things, the team we're going to be facing on opening night. And that is Fred VanVleet getting he tore his ACL and he will be out for, it seems like pretty much the whole season, where they're not sure if he's going to be back in time for the playoffs if they do make it. But as of right now, he's projected to be out the entire season. So that's a big blow for the Rockets. And on the Thunder side of things, because the Rockets are probably the second biggest threat to the Thunder outside of the Denver Nuggets. And to lose a guy who you're paying a certain amount of money, nearly $30 million a year, and he was a very big part of what you were able to do last year being the 2 seed. He's a great guard scorer. He really provide that three-point shooting. So now you lose him, so now you kind of have to fill that role. And I think a guy that the Rockets will look towards to kind of fill that role for Fred VanVleet is Reed Sheppard. And I think we're going to see a lot of growth from him. We obviously know that he didn't play much in this past season for the Rockets, but I think with this injury, it opens up a slot for him to kind of get it going. So now for the Thunder Rockets on opening night, it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of go about it on their starting lineup. I'm sure you're still going to have your big 3 of Thompson, KD, and Sengun in there, but now are you running KD at the 4, or are you going to run Reed Sheppard out there? So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they go about it. And if you're Reed Sheppard starting on opening night, and it's really your first time getting like the keys to the offense, obviously outside of KD running the offense, but your ball handler, you have to go out there and go against the team that was just one of the best defenses of all time. And no matter what, you're most likely going to have a perimeter defender of Dort, Caruso, Wallace, or J-Dub on you at all times. So he's going to get into the thick of it really quick. But for the Thunder, it's just going to be something to keep our eyes out on if that's going to affect the Rockets or whatever. And kind of transitioning into the last topic of the day is now the Rockets have talked about the possibility of the Russ KD reunion. Now that this has come out, Houston has been in contact with Russ, trying to get in contact with him to bring him over, and we could see a reunite of KD and Russ in Houston, which would be very interesting for us Thunder fans just to see that again a decade later in this 2026 season after a decade of them being apart. So it's going to be interesting. Is Russ going to go there, or are the Rockets going to look for a guy like Reed Shepherd to go after? If we do see Russ and KD out there, it's going to feel like 2016 and the early 2010s all over again, except they're going to be much older. So it's going to be interesting to see from a Thunder fan's perspective what's going to happen here. I think we could very well see Russ in a Houston Rockets jersey by the end of this week, but we're going to have to keep up to update on that. We'll have to get going as we get closer to the start of this season. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and that'll be it for me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.